the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour. Fired.
Also, tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m.
Get Dad ready for every job with all the tools he needs this Father's Day. The time by Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Label Crafts Jamaica Limited offers exceptional finishes that will make your product extraordinary at an affordable cost. The Temperature by Label Crafts Jamaica Limited. The #1 choice for label printing is...
It's 31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 32 in Montego Bay.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Robianne Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the drought is now affecting NWC systems in northeastern parishes.
And water restrictions to take effect tonight in Jacks Hill and surrounding communities in St. Andrew.
Roofs verification process more than 50% complete.
Most of the work is done, far beyond 50% in terms of verification and understanding the process.
Burnt Savannah Primary School in St. Elizabeth remains a shell of itself less than 2 weeks before school resumes.
Uptake in Jamdex transactions despite roadblocks from commercial banks.
In news from the rest of the world, King Charles to visit the Bahamas, Guyana, and Antigua and Barbuda in October.
Death toll in Tibet-Nepal flash floods surpasses 150.
In sports, new season of ISA schoolboy football to be launched in Kingston tonight.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, the Natural Resources Conservation Authority says eviction notices issued for Jacob Taylor Beach in Trelawney did not include fisher folk. We'll hear from NEPA's Director of Environmental Management and Conservation, Anthony McKenzie, and a business owner and fisherman operating at the beach, Hosang Plummer.
Taking you around the world at 6:45, you'll hear the latest on a massive flash flood and mudslide in Nepal. More than 150 people have been killed and hundreds of tourists are missing.
At 7, it's the comments section. This evening, we're asking, should school mandate the in-house purchase of uniforms? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
And at 8, it's Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings Weathers.
All these and more as we take you home on air, Nationwide 90 FM, this Wednesday afternoon. It's Wednesday, August 26, 2026.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The ongoing drought is now impacting some of the National Water Commission's NWC northeastern parishes. This includes systems in St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. The NWC, in a statement on Wednesday, says several facilities in the three parishes are producing between 10 and 15% of their normal output due to the worsening drought. Mahiri Stewart reports.
In St. Anne, the NWC says its Fort George facility is at 0% operating status. The Higgintown facility is at 20%, while the Blackstone Edge and New Hope facilities are at 10%. The Chester facility, which supplies areas such as Spicy Grove and Nelson, as well as the Mount Zion facility, both stand at a 50% operating status. Over in St. Mary, the Hunts Bay facility has the highest operating status. As at August 26, it stood at a percentage of 50, while Gale Spring is at 45%. The Lucky Hill facility is at 40%, while the Bonnygate system, which services areas such as Preston Hill and New Road, is at 35% operating status. Pembroke Hall is at 30%, the Crescent facility, which is responsible for supplying sections of Jacks Hill and Fontabelle, is at 20%. The system with the lowest operating status is Fellowship Hall at 0%. In Portland, the Haining and Windsor Forest facilities are the lowest in the parish at 20%. Those facilities supply Bell Castle, Belmont Road, Commodore, sections of Long Bay, and Fair Prospect. Packy River No. 1, which serves Hector's River, Flatgrass, Compound, Long Road and environs, Dillon, Grange Hill, Mansionil, Sandshore, and Fort and Barracks, is at 35% operating status, and the Kensington facility is now at 50%. The NWC is encouraging customers in these parishes to store water in clean covered containers and have storage to last during the off-schedule periods. It adds that water trucking services have been launched to assist customers who may not be able to be supplied through pipes due to their location and elevation. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the NWC has implemented overnight restrictions for Jacks Hill and surrounding communities in St. Andrew. Starting this evening, Wednesday, August 26, piped water will be supplied daily between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. until further notice. The NWC says the schedule is necessary due to the continued decline in the water level of the Hermitage Dam and low inflows affecting the Constant Spring network. The affected areas include Sunset Avenue, Harriman Close, Tavistock Heights, Tavistock Terrace, Millsboro Avenue, Millsboro Crescent, Ridgeway Terrace, and surrounding communities. Also affected are sections of East Kings House Road and Jacks Hill Road, all roads leading off Jacks Hill Road, as well as Farringdon Heights and River Ridge. The NWC says some customers may still have difficulty receiving water according to the schedule because of their location, terrain, or elevation. Those customers can request trucked water by contacting the NWC's Customer Care Center. The Commission is urging affected customers to have enough water stored to last through the non-supply hours and to carefully manage their supplies. Several Kingston and St. Andrew communities are now already under water restrictions, with prohibition orders in effect across 7 parishes. This means that non-essential water use, including washing vehicles, watering lawns and gardens, filling swimming pools, and pressure washing driveways, is prohibited. The NWC says it will continue to monitor dam levels, system performance, and drought conditions, and provide updates as necessary.
The verification process of the government's Restoration of Owner or Occupant Family Shelters ROOFS program is more than 50% complete. Labor and Social Security Minister Pernell Charles Jr. provided the update during an interview on JIS on Wednesday. He says the program transitioned into its second phase to tighten verification checks after unscrupulous persons attempted to exploit the system. Shalois Michael reports.
The ROOFS program provides financial assistance for the reconstruction of homes damaged by last October's passage of Hurricane Melissa. Individuals can access between $75,000 and $500,000 in hurricane relief, depending on the level of damage. Colonel Charles Jr. says the ministry accelerated efforts in Phase 1 to provide support for the vulnerable and those who were seriously impacted.
A large portion of support went to persons that were most severely impacted. And the second protocol was vulnerability. So whether you were in the first, the second, or third category, if you had a unique issue, whether it was that you're a senior citizen alone with no help, person with disability that needed support, you were also prioritized. We have gone past 118,000 assessments. I think it's 118,365 to be exact. And we have dispersed close to $11 billion and counting in support, which would be either through material or cash, and you have close to 50,000 families that have been assisted.
But he says the program was adjusted under Phase 2 based on assessments and lessons learned from Phase 1. This includes a stricter verification process before disbursements can be made while balancing efficiency and greater accountability. Minister Charles Jr. says the approach was necessary to guard against those attempting to manipulate the system.
You have individuals that will make a claim in Trelawney and one in St. Thomas. And it is impactful enough for us to have what you have now is a real-time audit of this process by the Auditor General, which slows the process, but we welcome it because it also assists us in identifying errors and rectifying those errors before they are multiplied. So a real example. So I had someone very loud, quarreling. I mean, you want to immediately give this person support because of how loud, bold, and direct they were about the fact that they needed the support now. When we checked the system, their spouse had received a grant already, and their son was about to receive a grant until we investigated and found that the son also lived in the same house, and he was coming for another grant.
Still, the minister says the verification process has passed 50%. Residents who have not yet been assessed or verified are also urged to visit their parish office or contact the Labor and Social Security Ministry.
Most of the work is done because we have identified now all the categories of issues to be treated with. We have identified an approach to make sure that we can, again, maintain the balance between efficiency and accountability, far beyond 50% in terms of where we are in terms of verification and understanding the process. So we're out in the field and we're working with the members of parliament, councillors, community leaders to identify those persons. Go to your parish office or call, email, engage us so that we can help you, support you to rectify so you can be verified.
Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
With less than 2 weeks to the start of the new academic year, Burnt Savannah Primary School in St. Elizabeth remains a shell of itself following the passage of Hurricane Melissa last October. A video obtained by our news center shows the extent of the damage, both inside the school and across the compound. Robian Williams reports.
Will Burnt Savannah Primary School in St. Elizabeth be reopened come September 7? Large sections of the school remain without roofs, leaving classrooms, bathrooms, and other facilities exposed to the elements. In a video shared with our news center, pieces of tarpaulin can be seen draped over sections of the building, while tents have been erected on the compound. Inside, the damage is extensive. Several classrooms are without furniture, while others have desks and chairs scattered throughout. Whiteboards are also damaged. Other board structures have been left broken and exposed, and sheets of zinc can be seen strewn across the compound. The condition of the institution is raising concerns among parents who Nationwide News understands have been expressing frustration over the uncertainty surrounding where their children will attend classes when the new school year begins. In July, the principal of Burnt Savannah Primary, Janet Stephenson Atkinson, told Nationwide News that no repairs had been carried out at the school since Hurricane Melissa.
After Melissa, no work has been done at the Burnt Savannah Primary School. From in-house, we would have put tarpaulin on the buildings that lost roof. And so that's what we have been doing ever since the hurricane came and we went back into the physical phase. So absolutely no work has been done. Listen, man, we need help. We cannot continue in this condition. Our children must be treated better. Our teachers must be treated better. It doesn't sound as if the work is going to begin anytime soon. We feel alone. We feel as if we are just left there to fend for ourselves.
At the time, Executive Director of the National Education Trust, Latoya Harris-Garty, said repairs were expected to begin within 2 weeks.
For Burnt Savannah, the project team has been there on several occasions. The contractor has submitted a bid. There was a meeting with the contractor this week, and the intent is for the bid to be reviewed in line with the recommendations from the technical team so that we can grant permission for him to commence work, and we expect to complete that process within 2 weeks and have work commence within the next 2 weeks.
But Nationwide News has been reliably informed that since our report in July, a contractor removed the remaining roof from the building but has not returned to carry out further work. With the new academic year fast approaching, questions remain about whether the necessary repairs will be completed in time and what arrangements will be made for students if the school is not ready. Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is
5:14.
Termites, rodents, or birds infesting your home or office? Call Rentokil Initial, the pest expert, at 876-926-4236 for a free pest assessment island-wide. The temperature brought to you by Rentokil Initial is...
It's 31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 32 in Montego Bay.
Bring the heat, feel the vibes. Walkers what brings any meal to life. Get food great time, side by side. Grill any food type anywhere you like. Jerk it, sauce it, flavor in every bite. Real Jamaican taste, yeah man ignite. Bring the heat, feel the vibes. Make moments feel alright. Bring the heat, feel the vibes. Walkers what brings any meal to life. Cook up real flavor and vibes in the kitchen, grill or barbecue. With Walkers with seasonings.
Continuing the news, the Bank of Jamaica, BOJ's central bank digital currency Jamdex, has significantly increased its volume of usage despite continued impediments from commercial banks adopting their point-of-sale terminals. Deputy Governor for Financial Markets and Payment Systems, Natalie Haynes, gave an update at a recent quarterly media briefing. However, she lamented that commercial banks are still slow to come on board and facilitate the expansion of the currency. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
Jamdex was launched in 2022. It's a dollar-for-dollar digital equivalent for Jamaica's fiat currency. Its purpose is to simplify transactions and reduce the dependency on paper money. According to BOJ Deputy Governor for Financial Markets and Payment Systems, Natalie Haynes, the volume of transactions conducted through Jamdex has grown significantly.
So the number of subscribers, that's what I will use, it's roughly at around 320,000 now person. But we are hopeful because what we see is an increase in the value of transactions over the period. 2024 transaction values were only about 3 million Jamaican dollars. 2025 we ramped up. In 2024 we saw a step back because we were developing the technology for the point of sale solution. 2025 that increased to 19.3, and for this year up to July it's 51.7 million.
Deputy Governor Haynes says the BOJ's direct efforts have resulted in increased use of Jamdex across the country, especially at entertainment events.
Transactions are increasing, and that of course is directly linked to our communications effort in terms of the initiatives that we're having across the island in terms of promotions with food establishments, bookstores, hosting of parties, and so where Jamdex are used to pay for tickets and also for refreshments. So we see the benefit of that and in continuing to push that along in terms of phone-to-phone transactions.
But she joined former Governor Richard Biles in lamenting the slow adoption by commercial banks toward the digital payment method.
So you speak about what is causing impediments. Basically is we need the wallet providers, to come on board. We have been saying this time and time again, and we only have 2 now offering, but of course the other entities that are coming on, we hope that their clients will come on in terms of Jamdex.
Chevon Campbell for Nationwide News.
A Kingston man has been charged in connection with the execution-style killing of a father and son in New Forest, Manchester in June. Charged is 21-year-old construction worker Nicholas Williamson, otherwise called Pooh Bear. The deceased are 33-year-old Floyd Ferguson, otherwise called Fido, and his father, 60-year-old Hubert Ferguson. Fido was an entertainer and a car dealer of New Forest. Police reports are that about midnight on June 5, residents heard loud explosions coming from a premises in the community. The police were subsequently alerted. Upon arrival, the police discovered both men in a bedroom suffering from gunshot wounds. Their hands were reportedly bound. They were transported to the hospital, where they were pronounced dead. Post-mortem examinations conducted on June 18 confirmed that both men died from gunshot wounds to the head. Williamson was arrested on Tuesday, August 11. He was later charged with the 2 counts of murder, robbery with aggravation, and using a prohibited weapon to commit a felony.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
King Charles and Queen Camilla will visit 3 Caribbean countries later this year when he travels to the region for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Antigua and Barbuda on November 1. Charles's autumn tour will begin on October 27 in the Bahamas, one of the 14 countries other than the United Kingdom where he is head of state. He will then travel to Guyana for a state visit to mark 60 years of bilateral relations between Britain and its former colony. Charles is the symbolic head of the Commonwealth, an association of 56 independent countries, many of which have historic ties to Britain.
The death toll after a massive flash flood and mudslide on the Nepal-Tibet border on Wednesday has surpassed 150. That's according to the BBC. It says at least 160 people have been confirmed dead. Over 500 more, including at least 47 Americans, have been reported missing. Dozens of police and army personnel are also missing, as well as power workers. Search operations are underway on both sides of the border.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the drought is now affecting NWC systems in northeastern parishes.
Roofs verification process more than 50% complete.
Burnt Savannah Primary School in St. Elizabeth remains a shell of itself less than 2 weeks before school resumes. I'm Robeanne Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com, and please feel free to join the Nationwide Family Club at patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. The headlines up next at 6.
Jamaica, get on the road. Discover taste and celebrate and have fun. Join the vibes, get on the road. Yo, Jamaica, get on the road.
This month, get on the rum with Appleton Estate Jamaica Rum. Experience extraordinary live music across the island with our limited edition Appleton Estate Sherry Cask rum cocktails and more. Experience Appleton Estate like never before. Get on the rum and celebrate Appleton Estate Rum Month. Must be 18 years old to drink. Drink responsibly.
Yo, Jamaica, get on the road.
Things can change in an instant. While you're on the go, caught up in your own world, don't miss out on the most important update. You, pedestrians, look out before you step out. A message from the Ministry of Energy, Transport and Telecommunications.
Downtown Kingston, Digicel forward! Limited. This Friday, August 28th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Join the Digicel Turn Up for 25 Road Show at Big Tree in Parade. Win up to $15,000 cash in the money machine, $25,000 book vouchers, $50,000 grocery cards, tablets, and more. Enjoy music by DJ Narity, live performance from Tanto Black, Mrs. Kitty live on Nationwide 90 FM, and your host, Christopher Johnny Daly. Bring the whole crew and come turn up for 25 with Digicel.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Good afternoon, with your sports report. I'm Alex Ribby. We start with some track and field, as there will be a mad rush for crucial quick qualifying points when the final preliminary series in the Wonder Diamond League gets underway on Thursday in Zurich. A number of Jamaicans have already booked spots to the Diamond League final in Belgium, but several others are nervously looking to do so in the Swiss city. Wayne Walker has more.
It will enter Thursday's Wonder Diamond League meeting in Zurich, hoping to confirm their spots in the two-day final in Brussels, September 4 to 5. High jump women's national champion Lamar Distin is currently 7th in the high jump standings with 13 points and must finish in the top 6 at the end of the Zurich meet to qualify for Brussels. Wayne Pinnock and Tajay Gale are 4th and 6th respectively in the men's long jump, and they too must finish in the top 6 if they are to make it into the Belgium capital. Former Olympic bronze medalist Megan Simmons will not be in Zurich, but will be watching nervously, as though she is currently 6th place in the 100 meters hurdles with 19 points, her place is not yet secured. Former national champions Akira Nugent and Daniel Williams, both of whom are out of contention for the final, will run in Zurich against the likes of the world leader, the unbeaten Masai Russell, world record holder Toby Amusan, and world champion Dechanti Kombunji. Janelle Smith is holding on to the 8th and final spot in the women's 100 meters and must at least consolidate that position when she competes in a stacked field which includes the already qualified world champion Melissa Jefferson Wooden, Olympic champion Julian Alfred, Sha'Carri Richardson and Tina Clayton. Brianna Liston completes the field. World Championship bronze medalist Brian Lavelle returns after a long injury layoff to contest the men's 200 meters against former Olympic champion Andre DeGrasse and Kenny Benarik. Rochelle Clayton has already qualified for the 400 meters hurdles in Brussels, and she sits 2nd in the standings with 31 points, 9 behind the event leader, and is in the lineup for Zurich. World Championship finalist Naveski Anderson will take on a world-class field in the men's 800 meters. The likes of the Olympic champion Emmanuel Wanyoni, Jamel Shidati, and Mohamed Atoy are all in what's expected to be a highly competitive race. Virginia Campbell, the Olympic bronze medalist, will round out the Jamaican contingent in the men's shot put in Zurich. For Nationwide Sports, I'm Wayne Walker.
Thank you, Wayne. Now to some football, as the 2026 ISA schoolboy football season will be officially launched on Wednesday at 8 p.m. at the studios of CVM TV. 115 high schools will compete in both competitions, 36 in the Manning Cup and 79 in the DaCosta Cup. ISA has introduced a major new format overall for the 2026 season. The major change for the Manning Cup and DaCosta Cup will see 16 seeded teams for each competition based on their results from last year. The unseeded teams will begin their campaign in the first round for a chance to advance to the second round and join the seeded teams. 8 teams from the Manning Cup and 20 teams from the DaCosta Cup will advance to the second round. ISA has also introduced an in-season festival starting September 12 to help keep the seeded teams active. Ewan Scott is chairman of ISA's competition committee and explains the rationale.
The 30 seeded teams, that's the 15 man and 15 DaCosta Cup team, will not play in the preliminary round. Those teams will go into competition in the Ben Francis on the 19th and Walker Cup on the 26th. Bear in mind, competition kicks off on September 5th and September 9th, respectively, DaCosta and Manning. So with this in mind and those 30 teams being idle, we thought it fit to arrange an official set of matches for all 30 teams across 5 venues.
Scott explained the format of the in-season tournament that will pit a Manning Cup team against a DaCosta Cup team.
3 Manning Cup, 3 DaCosta Cup teams. Each team playing 2 matches, and it will be a Manning Cup team versus a DaCosta. This is the intent, to keep the teams active, so therefore they don't go into their respective competitions and match rusty. So that's the main thinking there in it, and also give our sponsors an opportunity and spectators to see our 30 teams, because as I said, they'll be inactive for quite a while. So persons might be asking, hey, what's happening to this team?
Ewan Scott. Now, French World Cup hero Kylian Mbappe scored a sizzling hat-trick at Santiago Bernabeu on Wednesday to steer former champions Real Madrid to a convincing 4-1 win over Real Sociedad in the Spanish La Liga. Mbappe opened the scoring in the 40th minute, then went on to add further goals in the second half to complete the striking victory.
Madrid fans haven't quite got that yet, but is that about to change? Chance! Goal! It does change in the blink of an eye. Kylian Mbappe off the mark for this new campaign. 1-1, Mbappe's opened it up. It's not 1-1 for much longer. Swift and decisive, clinical inside the penalty area. Well, Vinny's done beautifully, and there's the hat-trick, and there's the connection.
Now, Vinicius Jr. got the other goal as Madrid moved to the top of the standings with maximum points from their 2 games. And in cricket's host, Sri Lanka were holding on for dear life at close on day 4 of the second cricket test against India in Colombo. At stumps, the Sri Lankans following on were 229 for 6, a lead of just 16 runs on verge of certain defeat. Pansido Soria Bandara slammed the patient 92, Kamidu Mendes 55 and Kamil Mishara 32. Sri Lanka resumed day 3 on 265 for 8 in their first innings and were eventually dismissed for 290, of which Sonal Dinusha made 103. They were forced to follow on 213 runs behind. India lead the 3-match series 1-0. I'm Alric Swiby, and that's your sports.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
For all your custom framing, printing, graphic design, and purchase of art, Make It Frame Art Jamaica Limited, serving you for over 40 years. The time by Frame Art Jamaica is
5:30.
From the vibrant waterfront setting of Ocho Rios Bay Beach to the breathtaking seascape of Laughing Waters, discover exceptional venues for your special events. The temperature by the Urban Development Corporation is
31 degrees Celsius in City Kingston and 32 in Montego Bay.
Dreaming about a romantic summer escape without leaving Jamaica? Step away from the everyday and reconnect at Couples Resorts. Enjoy an exclusive couples-only getaway with gourmet dining, premium cocktails, and breathtaking ocean views. Jamaican residents can enjoy an all-inclusive escape from $405 USD per night for travel May 1 through October 31, 2026. Plan your summer staycation today at couples.com/residence. Couples Resorts. Like the first time, every time.
At Sherwin-Williams, we're proud to continue delivering the quality products and dependable service you've trusted for years. Our commitment to serving you remains stronger than ever. Whether you are refreshing a room, protecting a commercial property, or tackling your next big project, you can count on us for premium coatings, expert advice, and reliable support every step of the way. Visit your nearest Sherwin-Williams store today and discover why professionals and homeowners continue to choose Sherwin-Williams. Same trusted company, same premium quality, same dependable service.
Jamaica, get on the road. Discover taste and celebrate and have fun. Join the vibes, get on the road. Yo, Jamaica, get on the road.
This month, get on the rum with Appleton Estate Jamaica Rum. Experience extraordinary live music across the island with our limited edition Appleton Estate Sherry Cask rum cocktails and more. Experience Appleton Estate like never before. Get on the rum and celebrate Appleton Estate Rum Month. Must be 18 years old to drink. Drink responsibly.
Yo, Jamaica, get on the road.
Downtown Kingston, Digicel forward. good. This Friday, August 28th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Join the Digicel Turn Up for 25 Road Show at Big Tree in Parade. Win up to $15,000 cash in the money machine, $25,000 book vouchers, $50,000 grocery cards, tablets, and more. Enjoy music by DJ Narity, live performance from Tanto Blacks, Mrs. Kitty live on Nationwide 90 FM, and your host, Christopher Johnny Daly. Bring the whole crew and come turn up for 25 with Digicel.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Every day, Jamaicans have something to say. In the group chats, on social media, in the streets, there's a place where it all comes together. The comment section. This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Digicel's Turn Up for 25 Roadshow finale is happening this Friday, August 28th, and you don't want to miss it. Join the excitement at Big Tree, downtown Kingston, as we bring the summer campaign to a close. Nationwide 90 FM will be on hand to bring you live coverage with lots of entertainment, customer engagement, and giveaways. Come try your luck for a $50,000 grocery gift card or Quartz voucher, or offset those back-to-school expenses with a $25,000 book voucher. Join us on Nationwide 90 FM or catch us on YouTube at NNN Radio Live. Digicel Turn Up the 25 Roadshow finale, turning up the excitement and celebrating 25 years with Jamaica.
He never shies away from taboo topics. Boy Things After Dark.
The most riveting discussions.
Boy Things After Dark.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And everything else in between. Boy Things After Dark with Korean Boy Things this and every Wednesday from 8 to 11 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
You can't miss.
What's buzzing?
Celebrity outfits.
Is that a hit or a miss?
Bust the odds.
Jamaica's Got Talent.
Wait, a war man.
Hot takes.
Talk up the takes.
Actual factual. Life is short. Boy Things After Dark.
Come get your mind blown.
And your curiosity explored.
Good afternoon, listeners and viewers. It's time for Nationwide at 5. You're in the cover story, and I'm your host, Siobhan Campbell. And again, special shout out to our YouTubers. Thank you for joining us on this journey. And we have a follow-up from a discussion we had, I believe, last week or the week before, and that's regarding the Jacob Taylor Beach in Trelawney, because the Natural Resources Conservation Authority, that's the NRCA, says the fisherfolk operating from Jacob Taylor Beach will not be displaced. Instead, they will be incorporated into the restoration plans for the location. Fisherfolk who spoke with Nationwide News last week complained bitterly about eviction notices from the NRCA. But in a statement just before news time today, the NRCA said it's moving to reassure the operators amid the disquiet. It says the conceptual plan provides for their integration through a dedicated fishers hub with facilities for boat access, equipment, and fish storage, and the maintenance of engines. The NRCA says the redevelopment is in keeping with the original intent for the beach when it was rehabilitated in 2003. According to the authority, Jacob Taylor Beach was intended to operate as a model public beach that was well-maintained, environmentally responsible, and freely accessible. Chairman of the NRCA, Christopher Wimes, Stone says the rights of the fisherfolk as traditional users are safeguarded under the Beach Control Act. He says their continued access will be protected when the proposed redevelopment proceeds. The NRCA chair says the notices to quit were served on vendors illegally occupying the beach. He says the notices were intended to address an outstanding occupancy and tenancy matter and to allow the property to be brought under a lawful, orderly, and properly managed framework. Well, we're now joined by the Director for Environmental Management and Conservation at the National Environmental and Planning Agency, Anthony McKenzie, as well as a business owner and a fisherman from the beach, Hosang Plummer. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Campbell. Good afternoon, Mr. Campbell.
Good afternoon to you both. So, starting with you, Director McKenzie, the circumstances under which those eviction notices were served, you're suggesting here that they were sent to specific individuals who were illegally occupying the beach versus the fishermen. Can you please explain to me that distinction? And I think Mr. Plummer would like to understand the distinction as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Campbell. Thank you for inviting us. Right, so the notices were served on people who operate as vendors on the property. And that's distinct from fishermen fishing as a trade. Right, so the beach, that public beach, was so designated to facilitate public beach recreation and also for fishing as a trade. So if you are familiar with the configuration of the property, to the western side is the fishing beach component, and on the eastern side, separated by a groin, is the beach for recreation. So persons would come and bathe, and then the fishermen would use that their section to haul up their boat and so on. So I think it needs to be clear. The notices were served on persons who presently have set up structures to do commercial activity. Right? So those are the persons that the notices targeted.
Okay, and those individuals will still be removed from the property?
Well, the notices were served for vacation within 30 days. I can say that we've, since the 17th of August, we've had discussions by the Member of Parliament representative of that area of Trelawney, and I think we've worked out an arrangement to go forward. I don't want to go into that in detail at this point, but just suffice to say that we've been engaging in discussions on our way forward.
If you can't give the full details, are we talking resettlement or just outright removal?
Right,
just a blanket question there.
Okay, as I said, I don't want to go into details. I'm a little bit premature in going into what was agreed on and discussed. And I mean, the proposal is to have further meetings with the individuals on the beach.
Can I say something?
1 second, Mr. Plummer. Let Mr. McKenzie finish his point, then I'm going straight to you. I promise.
Right. So we'll be meeting with the representative and the people who presently occupy the structures on the beach. So I prefer to have those discussions, but I think there is a general agreement on the way forward based on the discussions that have taken place so far. So I just want to make the distinction that the fishermen, by virtue of their trade, their facility and their activity is secured by virtue of the act, by virtue of the legislation. They have the right to ply their trade as fishermen on the beach. So notices were never intended to be served on fishermen with respect to their activity of fishing.
Very well, but I think this is why it's important for Mr. Plummer to be here, because while he is a fisherman, he has relatives who I imagine that notice of vacation would still apply to, which is why I now allow you to go ahead, Mr. Plummer.
First and foremost, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
He uses the word illegal. I don't understand why he would use that word illegal. Because the beach, when they came, they split the beach into the government. They did that in 2003, and they developed a section of the beach for the public. They put some bathroom facilities, which they have not attended to in the past 15 years. They haven't attended to them or anything at all. And they know that the beach is operating. Where are these folks getting water from? Where are they getting electricity? Where are they getting bathroom from? We are the individual who have those things and put those things in place. Foremost, the beach was in horrible condition. We dumped the beach, we fixed it up and make it become something. Now, that is as a presentation. I don't know how they just come up with the idea that we are illegal. They know that we've been there for years, doing what is possible to make it properly maintained and everything so people can come and enjoy it. And they have no discussion with us. Nobody came and said nothing to us. They just came and put up a letter, which makes no sense. The letter is not dated. It's not stated from nobody. All it said is from NRCA. And I've been there for 32 years.
I hear Mr. Plummer, but under the circumstances, well, let us take a quick break and then come back. We don't want to disrupt this. Please, let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is...
It's 32 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston. It's the same out west in Montego Bay.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jack on my figure, dig the wall. Upper Total Tools. Weed walker figure, trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand. Total Tools. We rent them, sell them, and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Live Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jacksaw, St. Anne's Bay. Call us today.
Back to school season has a way of sneaking up on you. First, it's books, then uniforms, school shoes, a laptop, lunch money, tuition, and somehow the list just keeps getting longer. But here's the good news. Preparing your child for the new school year doesn't have to put your financial goals on hold. With a Barita Merchant Bank back-to-school loan, you can borrow $500,000 and above to finance tuition, books, uniforms, laptops, and other school essentials. You'll also enjoy low rates, reduced fees, and up to 5 years to repay, giving you the flexibility to prepare with confidence. Call 876-618-3455 or email banksales@barita.com or visit baritamerchantbank.com/school loans.
Jamaica, get on the road. Discover taste and celebrate and have fun. Join the vibes, get on the road. Yo, Jamaica, get on the road.
This month, get on the rum with Appleton Estate Jamaica Rum. Experience extraordinary live music across the island with our limited edition Appleton Estate Sherry Cask rum cocktails and more. Experience Appleton Estate like never before. Get on the rum and celebrate Appleton Estate Rum Month. Must be 18 years old to drink. Drink responsibly.
Yo, Jamaica, get on the road.
Go back to school in style with a brand new Samsung smartphone from just $8,850 plus tax. Sign up, switch, or upgrade to digital postpaid and choose from the Samsung A07, A17, or A26 at unbeatable back-to-school prices. Plus, you'll be entered for a chance to win a brand new MG SUV and so much more in our Turn Up for 25 promotion, authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5. Visit digitaljamaica.com for terms and conditions.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to the cover story. We're talking about the Jacob Taylor Beach down there in Trelawney. We had the folks on there, the fisher folks and the business owners down there who were complaining about a vacation notice issued by the NRCA under what I'd say was very messy set of circumstances that required some clarity. And now we have with us the Director of the Environmental Management and Conservation at the National Environment and Planning Agency, Anthony McKenzie, along with a gentleman we had on last week, a business owner and fisherman, Hosang Plummer. So you heard there from Mr. Plummer, Director McKenzie, that they have been occupying the space for several years, let me be more accurate, decades, in fact, undisturbed, hearing nothing from the authorities as to the state of that beach, only to be served a vacation notice just last week. And you can understand their befuddlement in the circumstances. So what I'm trying to understand here from the point of NEPA, is this true? Is it that NEPA had simply left the beach to its own devices for that extended period of time, 20 plus years?
Thank you very much again, Mr. Campbell. I don't know why you say it's messy, right? I would want to state that the property is in the title of the NRCA, right? That's a Natural Resources Conservation Authority, acting as the beach control authority. So they, by virtue of the legislation as a public beach, the authority has to see to the interest of the fishermen and the public at large as it relates to bathing and recreation. Right? That's the specific and mandated legal interest of the beach control authority here. Now, with respect to the persons who have been occupying the beach outside of fishing, we had an arrangement with some persons. In fact, in 2018, with 10 individuals, and they were at one point, up to 2018, they were served with notices. Right?
Okay, so in 2018 they were served with notices. Okay.
Right? And then we have, in subsequent time frames, we've had engagements, we've written letters, we've officers going down there and talking to them, and again, we served the notice in 2026. So it's not as if they are not aware. I mean, the gentleman, you said is Mr. Plummer?
Yes.
Is that Hosang Plummer?
Yes.
Right. So he was one person that was served. I can't say that.
Director McKenzie, are you there? Oh, there. It looks like we lost the director. We're going to try to get him back. So, Mr. Plummer, you heard there from the director. He's suggesting that this is not the first time that the NRCA has spoken to you and other members and other occupants of the property to vacate. Is that true?
They have approached us before, to be honest. But none of it was regularized through the government. All of it was privately done. Even the money that we were paying, we're going
wait, no, Mr. Plummer. What do you mean none of it was done through the government? You have a representative from the NRCA suggesting that it was just done from the government.
The money to them, when they found out that the money was going into personal pockets, they all ceased on taking money from us.
That is the one thing I definitely need to have the director back on to, because he did speak to an arrangement, and I want to know if that arrangement is a monetary one, but we have to leave that when we get the director back. But under the circumstances, you admit that they have suggested to you before, he says in 2018, that you, as a occupant of the beach who is not a fisherman, but you have suggested that you are a fisherman, but you operate a business there, I assume.
My fishing license has dated way back to 20.
Yes, but you operate outside of the fishing license. You operate a business on the beach.
Yes, I do.
Okay, and under those circumstances in 2018, did you receive a notice from the NRCA to vacate?
No. We received a letter from the body that their premises on the beach that needs to be properly arranged. Nobody came about after that. We still there. Took into it. Even if they're saying this, the hurricane come there and they mash up the whole place. Nobody from there come along and will fix up at the beach and clean it up and make it look properly now so people can come and enjoy it and know they're coming with this. The section that they fixed for themselves, for the public, none of it has been touched for the past 15 years. It is in deplorable condition right now. And every time we approach them about getting it fixed up because, the bathroom facilities, the changing room and stuff that people can come and get to wash off when they come on beach. None of that is there. We are the one who are providing that. We are the one who are paying water bill and light bill and stuff.
Very well. Director Mackenzie, I understand you're back?
Yes, I'm back.
I don't know if you heard what Mr. Plummer has just suggested, but one thing I want to understand, you suggested that there was an arrangement with the occupants of the beach. Is this the monetary arrangement they're suggesting where they were paying money over for the said purpose of allowing them to stay there?
Right, okay, so the beach was actually rehabilitated and fixed up with changing rooms and swimming area and so on, landscaped, etc. in 2003.
Yes.
And at that time also, we had, you should recognize that traditionally, craft persons would come on the beach and sell craft to visitors and tourists and so on. And at that point, that was recognized, and we allowed for the craft vendors to formalize a lease with the NRCA to occupy a section to sell their wares to visitors and so on. So that was facilitated back in 2006. Now, there was an arrangement where a lease would be paid by these vendors. Eventually, the vendors stopped despite our requests and so on.
So just to be clear, they were paying for a lease to stay and occupy the property, and you're suggesting that they simply just stopped paying. Why?
They stopped paying, and then, of course, others came on and started to build other structures, and other commercial-related activities. And I think the point that we're making is that the place has to be organized and managed in the interest of fishing and in the interest of public bathing. We've been having this broader discussion about public access and being able to access beaches and recreate and so on, right? The agency has a mandate to achieve that, and that is what we're hoping to do. We're not intending to displace or disenfranchise anybody. I think the idea is that we want to work with persons to come to a solution and to integrate as best as possible the existing operators through vendors into a well-managed, comprehensive plan for the beach. But of course, that takes into account our reality, our mandate to secure the interests of the fishermen and to secure the interests of the public to recreate in the public space.
So under those arrangements, Director Mackenzie, will they be required then to continue, or I guess to reinitiate the payment of a lease to operate? I don't know if it's going to be within the confines of the beach.
As I said, we had some meetings, and if you'd allow me not to.
Very well. You have things that you need to iron out with the.
Yes. We're going to be meeting with them, and we'll be having those discussions. But as I said, the intent of the authority is really not to disenfranchise anybody. It's to ensure management and effective management of that beach space.
Very well. So, Mr. Plummer, under the circumstances, now we have a better understanding of how the situation has reached to the point where it has reached. Are you willing to come to the negotiation table with the NRCA, NEPA, and the MP in order to get the circumstances worked out? Where I don't know what those circumstances will be, but are you willing to get to the negotiation table?
We were willing from day one, sir. We were willing from day one, because we know any business that's operating, taxes is what run this country, and the government needs to get its taxes. I already went and licensed my business, I have my business license and everything, You understand me? But what I'm saying, where were they 15 years ago when the fishermen them want help? We are the one who are putting off the pure water rate and so where was NRCA? I'll know them cut off the water from over there so the fishermen them when they come for feed and no water for the wash off them now wheat cost enough. Where was NRCA all this time? The hurricane come, none of them turn up and show nothing, and we clean up by the beach and everything, and our shops them blow down, them materials to go build up because board structure, everybody thing blow down. So we come and put the building them a little bit stronger. Now it open up the eyes of everybody and everybody are running. They want this. They didn't even have a meeting with us and said, all right, listen, this is where we want to take it, and this is how we want to operate it. It would be okay if they come in that way instead of come up, wake up one morning before their morning.
I've personally been down on the beach at meetings. Right, so I think, yeah. Anyway, I think the point is that I think we can, and
you should have had a meeting with us, sir. You should have.
No, but we've had meetings, Mr. Plummer.
I personally put everybody in turmoil. You know, we invest good money into that place because.
So, Mr. Plummer, we're almost at the time, but I want to come to a clear point here. Are you willing to reinitiate the payment of a proper lease arrangement with the NRCA?
Of course, but we need something legitimate on paper. We need something that can.
And that I think all parties would agree on because the situation, as explained here, was a bit messy.
Because the fact that they said they want to rebuild and repair, they didn't build anything for us. They did not build anything. They did not do anything. We dumped the beach. Even the other day when the flood took on the whole place, we have to add how much load of stuff. We have to ask the council of the stuff
are you speaking as a fisherman or are you speaking as
I am speaking as a fisherman. I still do fishing. I actually, you know what I think me do for down stuff. I am the one of the natural resources person who are planting the corn.
You have a commercial facility. You have a commercial facility.
I think, please allow Mr. Mackenzie to speak, Mr. Plummer. Go ahead, Mr. Mackenzie.
You operate a cook shop, okay?
Yes, sir, I operate a cook shop down there.
Okay, then.
You understand me? And look, I do this thing from me, I pick me upon that the beach. Me do all that, me send myself to school, me send my kids them to school. And now, this, I don't think, I'm not saying we won't cooperate with the National Environment Protection. We will. But you guys approach it at a wrong angle because we just wake up to a surprise. Everybody out of their mind right now.
So let me ask you. All right, then let me direct that question to you, Mr. Mackenzie. Do you think that is a reasonable statement by Mr. Plummer that you simply just issued a vacation notice? There was no follow-up. Even when we tried to reach out to the NRCA, there was no information forthcoming as to what these arrangements were. But now, weeks later, after some pressure, you come forward and say, no, we're not just going to simply displace you?
No, man, we have had ongoing discussions. And I mean, other persons would probably tell you, I don't know Mr. Plummer. I mean, his name doesn't appear in the 2018 list. I mean, the recent list, his name is there. So although, I mean, he says he's been there a long time. I mean, I'm not here in a position to say yeah or nay, right? But I mean, we've had ongoing engagement, ongoing discussion. And I mean, I speak from my personal point of view. I've been there on many occasions, actually. Right? And I know people there. I know names there. Right? I know letters have been sent requesting payment on these right through the years. So it's not as if we have not been engaged. I know the NRCA spent significant amounts of funds to rehabilitate the beach back in 2023.
Yes, but 2003 is 23 years ago, Mr. Director Mackenzie. That's 23 years ago.
No, but not only that, but I mean, since that time we have done maintenance work, we have cleaned the beach, we have set up benches, we have put in waste management facilities and so on. So, but the idea is that we are at this point where we need to bring some effective management and do some significant rehabilitation work to create a space that is pleasing to everybody, both to the fishermen and to the general public.
Very well. I'm sorry to cut you there, Director Mackenzie, but we are over time. I try to give you as much leeway there as possible, but we are well over time. And under the circumstances, I'm happy to hear that the situation is being worked through amicably, and I'm sure this is not going to be the last time we follow up on it. So thank you, Director Anthony McKenzie.
Yes, sir.
That is Director Anthony McKenzie. He's the Director of Environmental Management and Conservation at the National Environmental and Planning Agency, NEPA. We also have with us business owner and fisherman Ho-Sung Plummer. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me this afternoon. We take a break, listeners. The headlines are next, and then we're back at 6:25.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
2 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. The ongoing drought is now impacting sections or impacting some of the National Water Commission NWC's northeastern systems. This includes the systems in St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. The NWC, in a statement on Wednesday, says several facilities in the three parishes are producing between 10 and 50% of their normal output due to the worsening drought. Meanwhile, the NWC has implemented overnight restrictions for Jacks Hill and the surrounding communities in St. Andrew. Starting this evening, Wednesday, August 26, piped water will be supplied daily between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. until further notice. The NWC says the schedule is necessary due to the continued decline in the water level of the Hermitage Dam and low inflows affecting the Constant Spring network. The verification process of the government's restoration of owner or occupant family shelters roofs program is more than 50% complete. Labor and Social Security Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says the ministry accelerated efforts in Phase 1.
A large portion of support went to persons that were most severely impacted. And the second protocol was vulnerability. So whether you were in the first, the second, or the third category, if you had a unique issue, whether it was that you're a senior citizen alone, no help, person with disability that needed support, you were also prioritized. We have gone past 118,000 assessments. I think it's 118,365 to be exact. And we have dispersed close to $11 billion and counting in support, which would be either through material or cash, and we have close to 50,000 families that have been assisted.
He says the program was adjusted under Phase 2 based on assessments and lessons learned from Phase 1. This includes a stricter verification process before disbursements can be made, while balancing efficiency and greater accountability. Minister Charles Jr. says the approach was necessary to guard against those attempting to manipulate the system.
You have individuals that will make a claim in Trelawney and one in St. Thomas. And it is impactful enough for us to have what you have now is a real-time audit of this process by the Auditor General, which slows the process, but we welcome it because it also assists us in identifying errors and rectifying those errors before they are multiplied. So a real example. So I had someone very loud, quarreling. I mean, you want to immediately give this person support because of how loud, bold, and direct they were about the fact that they needed the support now. When we checked the system, their spouse had received a grant already, and their son was about to receive a grant until we investigated and found that the son also lived in the same house, and he was coming for another grant.
Residents who have not yet been assessed or verified are also urged to visit their parish office or contact the Labor and Social Security Ministry.
Most of the work is done because we have identified now all the categories of issues to be treated with. We have identified an approach to make sure that we can, again, maintain the balance between efficiency and accountability, far beyond 50% in terms of where we are in terms of verification and understanding the process. So we're out in the field and we're working with the members of parliament, councillors, community leaders to identify those persons. Go to your parish office or call, email, engage us so that we can help you, support you to rectify so you can be verified.
Pernell Charles Jr., Minister of Labour and Social Security. The Bank of Jamaica, or BOJ's central bank digital currency JAMDEX, has significantly increased its volume of usage despite continued impediments from commercial banks adopting their point-of-sale terminals. Deputy Governor for Financial Markets and Payments Systems Natalie Haynes gave an update at a recent quarterly media briefing.
So the number of subscribers, that's what I will use, it's roughly around 320,000 now person. But we are hopeful because what we see is an increase in the value of transactions over the period. 2024 transaction values were only about 3 million Jamaican dollars. 2025 we ramped up. In 2024 we sort of stepped back because we were developing the technology for the point of sale solution. 2025 that increased to 19.3, and for this year up to July it's 51.7 million.
That's Natalie Haynes, Deputy Governor for Financial Markets and Payment Systems. She says the BOJ's direct efforts have resulted in increased use of JAMDEX across the country, especially at entertainment events. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Getting ready for back to school is as easy as KB. Shop at Kingston Bookshop from July 13, 2026 to September 5, 2026 for your chance to win big in our back to school promotion. Spend just $5,000 before GCT, shop online or in-store and you could win $200,000 cash, an HP laptop or a Samsung Galaxy Tab S10. Pick up in-store or shop online today. It's back to school the easy way, only at KB.
Discover something new. Discover the KB difference.
Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply.
Heading back to university this summer? You're probably thinking about tuition, books, and maybe even replacing that laptop that's been hanging on by a thread. We've all been there. The good news? Paying for your education doesn't have to happen all at once. With a Barita Merchant Bank tertiary loan, you can borrow $500,000 and above, repay over up to 5 years, and even begin repaying while you study. So you can spend less time worrying about how to pay for school and more time focusing on what really matters: graduating. Call 876-618-3455 or email banksales@barita.com or visit baritamerchantbank.com/school loans. Barita Merchant Bank, let's get you there.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. There'll be a mad rush for crucial qualifying points when the final preliminary series in the Wanda Diamond League Series gets underway on Thursday in Zurich. A number of Jamaicans have already booked spots to the Diamond League final in Belgium, but several others are nervously looking to do likewise in the Swiss city. 4 Jamaican athletes will enter Thursday's Wanda Diamond League meeting in Zurich, hoping to confirm their spots in the 2-day final in Brussels, September 4 to 5. High jump women's national champion Lamar Distin is currently 7th in the high jump standings with 13 points and must finish in the top 6 at the end of the Zurich meet to qualify for Brussels. Wayne Pinnock and Tajay Gale are 4th and 6th respectively in the men's long jump, and they too must finish in the top 6 if they are to make it into the Belgium capital. Former Olympic bronze medalist Megan Simmons will not be in Zurich, but will be watching nervously, as though she is currently 6th place in the 100 meters hurdles with 19 points, her place is not yet secured. Former national champions Akira Nugent and Daniel Williams, both of whom are out of contention for the final, will run in Zurich against the likes of the world leader, the unbeaten Masai Russell, world record holder Toby Amusan, and world champion Dechanti Kombunji. Janelle Smith is holding on to the 8th and final spot in the women's 100 meters and must at least consolidate that position when she competes in a stacked field which includes the already qualified world champion Melissa Jefferson Wooden, Olympic champion Julian Alfred, Sha'Carri Richardson and Tina Clayton. Brianna Liston completes the field. World Championship bronze medalist Brian Lavelle returns after a long injury layoff to contest the men's 200 meters against former Olympic champion Andre DeGrasse and Kenny Benarik. Rochelle Clayton has already qualified for the 400 meters hurdles in Brussels, and she sits 2nd in the standings with 31 points, 9 behind the event leader, and is in the lineup for Zurich. World Championship finalist Naveski Anderson will take on a world-class field in the men's 800 meters. The likes of the Olympic champion Emmanuel Wanyoni, Jamel Shidati, and Mohamed Atoy are all in what's expected to be a highly competitive race. Virginia Campbell, the Olympic bronze medalist, will round out the Jamaican contingent in the men's shot put. All right, hosts Sri Lanka were holding on for dear life at close on day 4 of the second cricket test against India. The game being played in Colombo at stumps. The Sri Lankans following on were 229 for 6, a lead of just 16 runs, and they're on the verge of certain defeat. Pasindu Surya Bandara, he slammed in 92. Kamindu Mendes 55 and Camille Mishara made 32. Sri Lanka resumed day 3 on 265 for 8 in their first innings and were eventually dismissed for 290, for which Sunil Dinusha made 103. They were forced to follow on 213 runs behind. India lead the 3-match test series 1-0. The 2026 ISA Schoolboy football season will be officially launched on Wednesday at 8 p.m. That's tonight. At the studios of CVM Television. 115 high schools will compete in both competitions, 36 in the Manning Cup and 79 in the Costa Cup. ISA has introduced a major new format overhaul for the 2026 series. The major change for the Manning and the Costa Cups will see 16 seeded teams for each competition based on their results from last year. Now, the unseeded teams will begin their campaign in the first round for a chance to advance to the second round and to join the seeded teams. 8 teams on the Manning Cup and 20 teams on the Costa Cup will advance to the second round. Now, ISA has also introduced an in-season festival starting September 12th to help keep the seeded teams active. Ewan Scott is chairman of ISA's competitions committee, and he explains the rationale.
The 30 seeded teams, that the 15 Manning, 15 Costa Cup team, will not play in the preliminary round. Those teams will go into competition in the Ben Francis on the 19th and Walker Cup on the 26th. Bear in mind, competition kicks off on September 5th and September 9th, respectively, Da Costa and Manning. So, with this in mind and those 30 teams being idle, we thought it fit to arrange an official set of matches for all 30 teams across 5 venues.
And Scott also explained the format of the in-season tournament that will pit a Manning Cup team against the Costa Cup team in each round.
3 Manning Cups, 3 Da Costa Cup teams, each team playing 2 matches, and it will be a Manning Cup team versus a Da Costa. This is the intent, to keep the teams active, so therefore they don't go into their respective competitions and match rusty. So that's the main thinking behind it, and also give our sponsors an opportunity and spectators to see our 30 teams, because, as I said, they'll be inactive for quite a while, so persons might be asking, hey, what's happening to this team?
Yeah, that's head of competitions at ISA, Ewan Scott. French World Cup hero Kylian Mbappe scored a sizzling hat-trick at the Santiago Bernabeu on Wednesday to steer the former champions Real Madrid to a convincing 4-1 win over Real Sociedad in La Liga. Mbappe opened the scoring in the 40th minute, and he added further goals in the 60th and 80th minutes to complete the striking victory for the Lily Whites.
Madrid fans haven't quite got that yet, but is that about to change? Chance! Goal! It does change in the blink of an eye. Kylian Mbappe off the mark for this new campaign. Still 1-1, Mbappe's opened it up. It's not 1-1 for much longer. Swift and decisive, clinical inside the penalty area. Well, Vinny's done beautifully, and there's the hat-trick, and there's the connection.
Vinny Jr. got the other goal for Madrid as they moved to the top of La Liga standings with 6 points from their 2 games, and they're also on 6 points with Real Betis and Sevilla. Wow, those 2 other teams are from the Andalusia area of Spain, so the teams up there in La Liga doing very well. Now, Jamaica's 27-member team is in Aruba competing at the 5-day Pan Am Handgun Championships, with the national delegation aiming to make its mark amongst the region's best shooters. Now, the championships are scheduled to conclude on Sunday with the official awards ceremony when the top performers across the various categories will be recognized. The Jamaica team will compete across 4 divisions: open, optics, production, production optics, and production, as they seek strong individual and overall results. President of the Jamaica Rifle Shooting Association, Ron Wilson, is confident the team can return home with at least 3 medals.
We do anticipate that the ladies optics team will finish on the podium. I'm actually very, very confident about that. We do also have a men's optics team and a men's senior optics team. My personal anticipation is that at least one of those teams will end up on the podium as well, with the first, second, and third. Former GRA President John Nelson is shooting in the grand senior category. If you remember at the World Shoot last year in South Africa, we had a grand senior world champion. I believe that John Nelson has a great chance of having a grand senior medal as well.
That's Rowan Wilson, president of the Jamaica Rifle Shooting Association. And that will pretty much do it for sport. We're going to have sport again on Thursday morning at 6, clearly, with the outstanding Tony Thomas doing news at 6. Have a good evening.
From the biggest tracks to the biggest energy, Nationwide keeps it moving. If you love the vibes, come and lock in with us for real.
World boss, leave a prison could stop me.
Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Practice. God me say you watch you over me practice.
Summer just got cooler, and so did the prices. LG air conditioners are now at lower prices at Active Home Center. 12,000 BTU, $59,997 plus GCT. 18,000 BTU, $85,997 plus GCT. 24,000 BTU, $106,997 plus GCT. And if Bally's your brand, the offer still stands. Buy any Bally air conditioner and get $15,000 to spend on your next purchase store-wide. Conditions apply. Active Home Center. More savings, more choices.
Hey, turn up to 25. Turn up to 25. Could I drive out fresh in a MG ride with a staycation all inclusive flex? Yeah. I touch a million cash. Yes. Smart TV, PS5, and home upgrade.
Turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. Sign up or switch to postpaid or Digicel Plus. Buy a SIM. Top up with 5 bills or more. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. A smartphone deal or just pay your bill. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5, 2026. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions.
Every school is free of unhealthy, ultra-processed products. You know, those high in salt, fats, and sugar. If only that weren't a dream. The reality is that many children have an unhealthy diet at school, and 23% of them are overweight or obese. This can lead to hypertension, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Let's protect our children's right to health with a policy for schools that prevents unhealthy food marketing and ensures access to nutritious foods. The time is now. Let's implement the National School Nutrition Policy. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
If you've ever called in, shared your story, or got help on this show, then you're already family. Now make it official. Join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
He never shies away from taboo topics. Boy Things After Dark.
The most riveting discussions.
Boy Things After Dark.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And everything else in between. Boy Things After Dark with Korean Boy Things this and every Wednesday from 8 to 11 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
You can't miss.
What's buzzing?
Celebrity outfits.
Is that a hit or a miss?
Bust the odds.
Jamaica's Got Talent.
Wait, a war man.
Hot takes.
Talk up the things.
Actual factual. Life is short. Boy Things After Dark.
Come get your mind blown.
And your curiosity explored.
Every day, Jamaicans have something to say. In the group chats, on social media, in the streets, there's a place where it all comes together. The comment section. This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton, weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. Are you ready to level up your future? The University of the Commonwealth Caribbean is hitting the road, and Nationwide 90 FM is bringing you all the action. Broadcasting live from the Halfway Tree Transport Center on Friday, August 28 from 2 to 4 p.m. with your hosts, Kareem and Honey B. Join us on Nationwide 90 FM and on YouTube at NNN Radio Live for the inside scoop on scholarships, flexible payment options, and career-focused study pathways designed to move you forward. Better yet, bring a friend and come on down. Get your one-on-one with the UCC representatives who will be ready to answer all your questions. That's the UCC Recruitment Roadshow, Friday, August 28th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Halfway Tree Transport Center. Keep your dials locked to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.
Good evening, listeners and viewers. Welcome back. It's time for the nation's business again. I'm your host, Siobhan Campbell, and we have a two-parter this evening for you. I'm going to start with the worsening drought conditions across the country. The ongoing drought is now impacting some of the National Water Commission's northeastern systems. This includes the systems in St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. The NWC, in a statement on Wednesday, says several facilities in the three parishes are producing between 10 and 50% of their normal output due to the worsening drought. In St. Anne, the NWC says its Fort George is at 0% operating status. The Higgintown facility is at 20%, while the Blackstone Edge and New Hope facilities are at 10%. The Chester facility, which supplies areas such as Spicy Grove and Nelson, as well as the Mount Zion facility, both stand at 50% operating status. Over in St. Mary, the Hunts Bay facility has the highest operating status. As of August 26, it stood at a percentage of 50%, while Gale Spring is at 45%. The Lucky Hill facility is at 40%, while the Bonnygate system, which services areas such as Preston Hill and New Road, is at 35% operating status. Pembroke Hall is at 30%. The Crescent facility, which is responsible for supplying sections of Jacks Hill and Fontabelle, is at 20%. The system with the lowest operating status is Fellowship Hall at 0%. In Portland, the Haining and Windsor Forest are the lowest in the parish at 20%. Those facilities supply Belcastle, Belmont Road, Commodore, sections of Long Bay, and Fair Prospect. Packy River number 1, which serves Hector's River, Flatgrass, Compound, Long Road, and environs, Dillon, Grange Hill, Merton Pen, Mansion Hill, Sandshore, Forte, and Barracks, is at 35% operating status, and the Kensington facility is now at 50%. The NWC is encouraging customers in these parishes to store water in clean, covered containers and have storage to last during the off-scheduled periods. It adds that water trucking services have been launched to assist customers who may not be able to be supplied through the pipes due to their location and elevation. Well, we're now joined by Corporate Public Relations Manager at the NWC, Delano Williams. Good evening.
Hey, Siobhan, good evening to you. Thank you for allowing me to join you. And
it's good to have you on.
As well.
It's good to have you on, but it's not looking very good, Mr. Williams, on the circumstances with so many systems operating at such low capacity. How is the NWC going to prioritize the water distribution to ensure at least a modicum of steady supply?
Well, that's the arrangement that we undertake utilizing trucking and in combination with what we would call a staggered regulation. So there are some of the systems, for instance, the ones that are bordering on 40 or 50%. What those allow us to do is that while we may not be able to do daily distribution of water, we will have to then delay it a little bit for the filling of the storage or distribution tanks, as we call them. So, for instance, a customer who might normally receive water on Monday, we may have to stagger it to a Wednesday schedule. So because there are so many systems across this space, you may not see all of them published in this particular media release. But we have been utilizing direct communication in some of these spaces to just advise the customers of what those adjusted timelines would look like.
Oh, okay. Under the circumstances, are there further contingencies in place if the situation worsens? Because it doesn't seem like we're going to be breaking the back of this drought anytime soon.
Well, what we look at is when the rains do come, if they come, as you said, there may be a set of forecasts that doesn't necessarily give us a positive outlook. The trucking for sure, and then we target where we need to install wayside tanks as necessary, and other. One of the things we're targeting across the breadth of the island is where additional loading bays will need to be installed. What that does is that we are able to identify points on our network where there is some supply that can provide filling stations for our trucks to help us to mobilize a little bit quicker. So the turnaround time from a town center to the community is shortened as a result. But whatever the combination of systems, of solutions are, we treat them as we monitor the inflows and the realities with the weather forecast over the next week or two.
And under these circumstances, as you said, you've put in these plans in place. How long will these added prohibition, I won't call it prohibition, these added restrictions improve the longevity of the supply? Or how much lead time does this give you?
Well, it varies. The truth is it varies with a system. You alluded to, for instance, Fellowship Hall. That's one system where we're already doing trucking. Yes. We've been doing trucking for perhaps close to 2 weeks now. Some areas we take it on demand. For instance, the Fort George system, we will take customer requests. That's a small system for us. It's about 20 customers. Now, each one varies. You may have just a day or two of rainfall, and sometimes the system will improve for a week. So the same way they fall precipitously, there's also the reality that sometimes a bout of rainfall could give you temporary reprieve. And that's what we're hoping will manifest itself in the days to come. But we couldn't give you a blanket statement for all of them because their geographical locations are spread across the parish. Some follow the Wogwater line going from the border through the junction, as some persons know it, from St. Andrew through to St. Mary out to Anota Bay. Others are a little further inland for the St. Mary systems. The ones in St. Anne are somewhere in the area near Claremont and to the east and west of Claremont. But depending on the geography, you may find that sometimes rainfall will provide some improvement, and we treat accordingly as it comes.
Well, we pray for rain. So under the circumstances, we've spoken about the east and northeastern sections of the island. Am I to then assume that the west is more or less within reasonable in terms of the capacity?
Yes, in terms of the numbers, the last assessment we had of 90-plus systems, over 80 out of them were on the eastern side. The northeast belt, which is the one under our discussion now, had maybe 60, well, close to half of the systems impacted. Kingston and St. Andrew, meaning rural St. Andrew, also had a fair bit. And then to close out the show, you had St. Thomas, North Clarendon, North St. Catherine. We are having to monitor our Manchester and St. Elizabeth systems. And, for instance, we have a system sitting on the border near Manchester, Clarendon, which is called Moravia, which we see some dips in it. And just over the last few days, the rainfall that occurred in that area brought it back close to around 80%. What we don't know is if it's prolonged rainfall or if it will, just drop off again in a day or two. But for the most part, while the western parishes are also seeing very warm conditions, they have been getting some rains.
Well, I guess we can thank the heavens for that reprieve. That is the Corporate Public Relations Manager at NMC, Delano Williams. Thank you for joining us and providing us with that update this evening.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Have a good evening. We take a break, listeners, and then we come back with more.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is...
It's 6:34.
Hey, turn up to 25. Turn up to 25. Could I drive out fresh in a MG ride with a staycation all-inclusive flex? Yeah. I touch a million cash. Yes. Smart TV, PS5, and home upgrade.
Turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. Sign up or switch to postpaid or Digicel Plus. Buy a SIM. Top up with 5 bills or more. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. A smartphone deal or just pay your bill. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5, 2026. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply.
Dreaming about a romantic summer escape without leaving Jamaica? Step away from the everyday and reconnect at Couples Resorts. Enjoy an exclusive couples-only getaway with gourmet dining, premium cocktails, and breathtaking ocean views. Jamaican residents can enjoy an all-inclusive escape from $405 per night for travel May 1 through October 31, 2026. Plan your summer staycation today at couples.com/residence. Couples Resorts. Like the first time, every time.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. I see a YouTuber saying that we might need to hold a national day of prayer for water. I think everybody every day now should be holding those quiet prayers because the situation is seemingly getting worse. But as I said, it's not just us. The world, ladies and gentlemen, is on fire, and we need some action in order to, I don't even know if we can reverse the problems at this point, but we need some action to at least mitigate against what is taking place worldwide in terms of the climate crisis. But we still have another segment, listeners, and it's now on the same matter of drought, but we're now moving over to the agriculture sector because since the start of the drought period, over 400 farmers have benefited from water supply provided by the National Irrigation Commission. That's according to Agriculture Minister Floyd Green. Minister Green was speaking at the official opening of the Farm Road project in Newcomb Valley, St. Elizabeth, on Wednesday. The parish of St. Elizabeth is among 7 parishes where water prohibition orders are currently in effect. In recent times, the government announced an allocation of $60 million geared towards drought mitigation for farmers. This is in addition to the $149 million previously allocated. Minister Green outlined measures being implemented to assist farmers, and we're now joined by the minister. Good evening, Minister Green.
Evening, Siobhan. Evening to all your listeners and your viewers. Happy to join.
Good to have you on, Minister Green. And kudos to you, Minister. You identified what was coming well ahead of what is now been brought upon us. How has that irrigation and mitigation efforts for the farmers gone?
It has helped. It has helped tremendously. I think the hue and cry would be much greater now based on what we have gone through if we never moved early. So in my sectorial, based on the forecasting that we saw from the Met Services, we announced a drought mitigation program from then, and that was all the way in May. So we can safely say that, so we started trucking water from June, and hence up to the end of July, we had trucked up to 11 million gallons of water free to the farmers, impacting almost close to 500 farmers. And normally what you do, the farmers clearly would be buying water or getting water from other sources. So you try to help them by providing 1 or 2 loads so that they can, especially the outdoor crop farmers and some of our livestock farmers, so they can save their animals and bring their crops to fruition. Clearly, one of the things that it has also given us the ability to do is to take stock. So when we looked at the 149 million program, part of it was for the trucking of water, part of it was also to help through members of parliament, and that has been going out. Another part of it is to deal with a more medium-term response, which we know, but you may not see the impact now, which is to help in the building of catchment ponds, which we can talk more about. But when we looked at it and recognized that the drought had not only continued, but had intensified, we have allocated an additional 60 million, and that is now to help especially in the National Irrigation Commission areas. So the first program, we used a lot of the NIC trucks in those NIC areas to deliver water. Now this allows rather to hire private trucks and to, provide truckloads of water to farmers in those non-irrigation commission areas. So it will extend the reach, and we are doing that because clearly we have seen that what started as dry spells in a couple parishes basically now is covering the entire island.
Oh, there. And Minister, we see worldwide pictures coming in of fields essentially left dry and barren as a result of what is taking place. And it just seems quite dreadful. Under the circumstances, should we expect some impact in terms of the food security here?
Well, there will be impact, and we're already seeing impact on some of our vegetable lines. Normally, the green leafy vegetables and things that require a lot of water to bring to fruition are normally the first to feel the brunt of any extreme dry or drought conditions. So your lettuce, your cabbage, and we're already seeing some of that impact, and that will continue. I think the vegetable lines in general, so it will extend now to things like your tomato and, almost all our vegetable lines will be impacted, and then we will start to see greater impact among our fruit lines. Thus far, our farmers still have been out there trying to see how much they can do. Normally, we would expect some rain in September, but based on the forecast and what is happening with El Niño, we might not see that, so the impact would be greater. And that is why part of what we have been doing is, one, trying to extend our irrigation footprint. So we would have already opened the Parnassus irrigation system, and that would have brought 700 acres under irrigation cover. So those farmers now have access, and part of the strategy, Siobhan, is going to be to help those farmers ramp up. So, for example, maybe a farmer would normally have, let us say he has access to 20 acres, of which he has 10 acres under production. Between RAD and the Agro-Invest Corporation, we're going to look to target some of those farmers and say, listen, we will help you the land preparation, we will help you with the input for you to put in additional acres so that we can use some of the farmers in areas where they do have access to water to help drive the production. It won't, take us back to where we would normally be if we had, weather, but it. We are implementing those strategies now, especially as we start to forecast for the Christmas, because as you know, Christmas is a significant time in terms of an increase in demand, so we have to start that work now, and that's what we're doing now.
And under those circumstances, Minister, I know it is in terms of the last tool in the tool shed when it comes to a contingency, and that is importation. As we head into that Christmas period, do you foresee any crop groups or very, very, very important items for that Christmas period that we might have to lean on imports to shore up?
Well, I wouldn't want to forecast it. What I can say now is that currently our vegetable lines are challenged. So all our vegetable lines are facing significant challenges right now. So what we always do, we always prioritize local production. So we look to see what is our demand monthly. We know that we're going into back to school, and we know normally back to school there's an uptick in demand because of the school feeding programs and things of that nature, canteens. So we would normally look at the demand that for September. We would look at what our production numbers are looking like, and if we need to tap into external supply, we do that. The good thing with some of our vegetable lines, as we speak about Christmas, is that most of those vegetable lines are 6 weeks to 8 week crops. So again, if we see that we are still having real challenges, we are not afraid to ramp up our support to help our farmers put in some of those crops and to help them, especially as I outlined in irrigation areas where they have access to water, to try and ramp up the production. So I wouldn't forecast yet for Christmas. Where there are shortfalls, we do tap into external supply just to ensure that we that our people have access.
But realistically, Minister, I'm just wondering, is there going to be an external supply to tap into at this point? Because this is a problem being faced around the world.
No, you raise a very good issue. And that is why, our strategies. So while we do trucking as an immediate response, our strategies are broader. So I spoke to you about the catchment pond program. And we've identified about 24 areas that we want to do catchment ponds in, working with farm groups where the government will do the excavation, putting the pond liner. Because what we expect is, even in these dry times, you do see some short bouts of intense rainfall. And right now we can't afford for any of the water to go to waste. So we're trying to do these catchment ponds so that we can capture that water, so that we can use it as the dry period continues, as the El Niño continues. We're going to expand the irrigation. So we have coming on stream now Essex Valley, and we do expect that by the end of September, early October, that we will turn on water that will bring 1,200 hectares of land. For people who like acres, that's over 2,500 acres of land under irrigation cover. So we've already dug the 5 wells, we've already run the pipes, we have put in the pumps, we've tested 4 of them. The 5th one we tested, but has a little challenge. We're working on that now. So once we get that going, that will bring a consistent supply of water into that South Manchester, Southeast St. Elizabeth belt. Additionally, as you go down the highway, Siobhan, you might see a lot of work happening with a big reservoir, right? We're just putting lights and we're putting renewable energy. And I want to say one thing about renewable energy. So that's the Southern Plains. So that's another 800 hectares that we're going to bring under irrigation cover, right? And we want to get that completed before the end of this year. So if we can get those systems completed, that will help definitely towards the end of the year, but also moving forward into next year. And that will shore up our internal supply so that, as you have rightfully said, where there are shortfalls around the world, we really have to just shore up our internal supply. That's why we focus so much on food security and building out these irrigation systems. So definitely our next drought cycle, definitely next year will be in a better condition, but we are trying to get some of these things moving before the end of the year. The one thing I'll also say is that we are utilizing the increased sunshine to power more of our systems. Right, so clearly we are seeing these longer periods of just extended heat and sun. So we are rolling out now more renewable energy systems. In New Forest last week, we would have brought on a new renewable energy solar power system that will save us about $14 million each year from that well alone in relation to the pumping of water, which is about 30% of our costs. So what we're doing is, again, how can we use the hand that we're dealt to reduce the cost of producing the water we so badly need to ensure that the farmers don't also suffer from increased costs of providing the scarcer commodity, right? And we're doing that by rolling out irrigation. We now supply under the National Irrigation Commission 1.1 megawatts from renewable energy, and we expect that before the end of this year we will supply 4.4 megawatts from renewable energy. So that's how bullish we've been about trying to ensure that we cost-saving methods to get the water to our farmers.
Excellent. Minister, at this point, I suppose we have to save every drop and keep every drop we can. Thank you so much for joining me this evening.
No problem. Thank you very much, Siobhan.
We take a quick break, listeners, and then we come back with Around the World.
The Jamaica International Financial Services Authority promotes Jamaica as a jurisdiction for international financial services. Visit JIFSA at jifsa.gov.jm. The time by JIFSA is...
It's 6:48.
Hey, turn up to 25. Turn up to 25. Could I drive out fresh in a MG ride with a staycation all inclusive flex? Yeah. I touch a million cash. Yes. Smart TV, PS5, and home upgrade.
Turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. Sign up for Switch to Postpaid or Digicel Plus. Buy a SIM. Top up with 5 bills or more. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. A smartphone deal or just pay your bill. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5, 2026. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions.
Back to school season has a way of sneaking up on you. First, it's books, then uniforms, school shoes, a laptop, lunch money, tuition, and somehow the list just keeps getting longer. But here's the good news. Preparing your child for the new school year doesn't have to put your financial goals on hold. With a Barita Merchant Bank back-to-school loan, you can borrow $500,000 and above to finance tuition, books, uniforms, laptops, and other school essentials. You'll also enjoy low rates, reduced fees, and up to 5 years to repay, giving you the flexibility to prepare with confidence. Call 876-618-3455 or email banksales@barita.com or visit baritamerchantbank.com/school loans.
Welcome back, listeners. It's now time for Around the World, and if there isn't enough water, sometimes there's too much, because more than 100 people have been killed and hundreds of tourists are missing after a massive flash flood and mudslide on the Nepal-Tibet border. The missing tourists include more than 100 from India, 54 from the United States, and 33 from the United Kingdom, as well as more than 100 from Nepal itself, and that's according to Nepal's tourist board. Authorities initially thought an earthquake may have triggered a landslide. However, a survey from the U.S. Geological Survey says the seismic energy was instead generated by a landslide. More in this report from the BBC.
Let's bring you right up to date with what is happening in Nepal and Tibet. Rescue teams are responding now to a massive flash flood in northern Nepal. It has swept away entire villages. At least 19 people are confirmed to have died, according to police. There are fears the number of casualties could rise. The Nepal Tourism Board is working to account for hundreds of travellers, they say, in the area. They are now saying over 380 travellers are currently missing, and most of them are foreigners. These pictures are from northern Nepal, where several people have been confirmed dead. Chinese state media we've been hearing from as well. They are reporting major casualties in Tibet too, and Nepal's foreign minister says preliminary information suggests an earthquake may have triggered an avalanche, then a subsequent flash flood, although this has not yet been verified. Well, let's bring you up to date. We can take you straight to our South Asia correspondent, Azadeh Mashiri, who joins us now from Delhi. Azadeh, firstly, what are you hearing both from the Nepalese authorities and also from the Chinese in Tibet?
We've been focusing on discussions with the Nepalese authorities, and they're saying that it's a race to save lives right now before night falls. And so helicopters have been deployed, including military helicopters. This is a remote area, hard to reach. It's in Rasua, which is north of Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal, and near the border with Tibet, as you mentioned. And so the true scale of the disaster, of the casualties, that's something we may not fully know until tomorrow or in the next few days, given how hard it is to reach there. Police have said they're struggling to reach dozens of their own officers, their team, and sadly, Nepal in this region is no stranger to deadly floods like these. Last year, a glacier burst on the Chinese side and 18 people died then. But in this case, officials fear that the casualties could be higher. And of course, there is that warning from Nepal's tourism board of hundreds of travelers that are currently unaccounted for, including more than 100 people from India and 12 from the United Kingdom.
And Azadeh, is it thought, or do we understand that it was an earthquake that then triggered this avalanche?
That's what they believe. They're still investigating this, so they have kept qualifying that. Initially, they thought that perhaps it was excessive snow melting into the Botekosi River, which flows from Tibet into Nepal. But now there has been this statement in Parliament that they believe an early morning earthquake triggered an avalanche, which in turn may have caused this flash flood. But they're still investigating the cause. And of course, the focus right now is obviously on search and rescue operations.
And how well equipped are the Nepalese, Azadeh, to deal with a disaster of this kind of scale? I mean, you mentioned it's getting dark and it's a bit of a race in terms of the time, but what about setting up even makeshift hospitals or dealing with people who may have been injured?
Well, districts downstreams have been put on high alert because the situation is still changing and evolving. There are many people in this area that will be living near riverbeds, and so it doesn't matter how prepared or equipped you are, you're still at risk, and so they're telling people to take precautions. They do have at least 17 helicopters that have been deployed, but again, you're fighting against the terrain and the weather conditions. The wind has meant that it's also very difficult for these helicopters to reach those who are most in need, and there is also significant infrastructure that is said to have been damaged. They believe hydropower stations may have been damaged. Workers may have been working there as well. There are a lot of trucks traveling goods that pass through the area that have drivers. Those are people who are unaccounted for. And so again, the scale of this is unknown right now, and we may know more in the coming hours or even days.
Azadeh, thank you so much. Azadeh Mashiri joining us there, our South Asia correspondent. Let's take you live to Nepal, to Kathmandu, to the capital, to the BBC's Phanindra Dahal, who is there. That is pretty distressing, that footage that we've just seen. What sort of stories are starting to emerge from this area, Phanindra?
Details are yet to emerge of the scale of damage, but officials are anticipating this as one of the worst disasters since the 2015 earthquake. Several districts along the downstream from the Nepal-Tibet border have been impacted, and settlements just close to the Botekoshi riverbed, they have been washed away. Police officials have confirmed they have recovered 19 dead bodies, but we are hearing from different districts that people are registering complaints of their relatives missing in those areas. And critical infrastructures like hydropower stations have been washed away. Several trucks that carried cargo from Tibet through that route have been washed away, and drinking water supply, road supply, they have all seen severe damages. Officials are now racing against time on how to manage the flood-affected victims. The government has said it will provide temporary accommodation, food and drinking water, among others. And they have said that they are making a blueprint on how to address communities that are impacted by the flood.
I feel like I've been saying this a lot too often, listeners and viewers, but my commiserations again with the people of Nepal after such a tragedy. It really feels as if this year Mother Nature has truly been wrathful in terms of her children here on this good green earth. But that's where we have to leave things for Nationwide at 5. Please stay tuned for the comment section with Mahiri Stewart and Shaloy Smikle. Special thanks to our super producer this evening, Sonia Stewart, technical operator Andrew the Glen, the big man, the Bugs Anderson, the best news and production department in the business, led by the very capable Cara Powell, and of course you, the listeners and viewers, and a special shout out again to the YouTubers Karen Shan, Queen, Marigold, Patrick Williams, Leroy Roti, Glenn Binns, Mikkel, Garfield Edwards, all of you, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I've been your host, Siobhan Campbell, and it has been a pleasure and a privilege.